Ohio. Kobrin, the city in the Brest region of Belarus, the administrative center of Kobrinsky district. The city, the fourth in the number of the population in the area, concedes to Brest, Brnovichi and Pinsk. As of January 1, 2021, the population of the city made 52843 persons. The city is located in the west of Policia on flat riverbanks Makovets in the place of her connection with the Dnieper and Botsky Channel, in 41 km to the east from Brest. The area of the territory of the city is 31.6 km. Extent from the north on the south and from the west on the east about 8 kilometers. Kobrin is important not of the motor transport. Through the city pass Highway M. Brest-Moscow. A part of European route and Pan-European transport corridor to Berlin, Nizhny Novgorod. M. Kobrin, border of Ukraine, Mokrana. A part of European route and also Highway M. Kobrin, Gomel. Connecting among themselves the regional centers of Policia. Besides, through the city Republican roads of P. A part of the old road Brest-Moscow from Columns to Kobrin. And P. Border of Poland High Kamnitz, Kobrin. Run. Distances to some settlements on highways came. The value of the city in terms of railway transport isn't so high. Being located on the line of the Policia railroads, the Kobrin station is a nodal and is in 23 km from the Zhibinka station, which is the railway junction. The directions to Brest, Minsk and Gomel. A lump. 1. City public transport is presented by buses. 17 routes. And share taxis. The standard of service for city transportations without buses of individual entrepreneurs more than one bus on 2,000 people is exceeded for 16%. 3 automobile bridges in the center, in the western part, and in east part, and also the railway bridge through the Makovets River work in the city. It is impossible to determine date of foundation of the settlement, which arose when strengthening in the place of confluence of the Kobrinka River with the Makovets River by the available data. During the whole research in 1999, the archaeologist O5 found the remains of ceramics of the 9-10 centuries. Earlier in the city, at a depth of 1.52 meters, fragments of an old pavement from logs were revealed. For the first time, the city of Kobrin is mentioned in the spiritual testament of the Volynsk Prince Vladimir Vasilkovich under 1287, in which that bequeathed the city to the wife Olga Romanova. There are several versions about origin of a toponym of Kobrin. According to the Belarusian geographer Vadim Stuvich, the name of the city came from a name of the disappeared people of an Obra living according to chronicles in western Policia. According to the Polish geographer Joseph Staszewski, the name was formed as development of the Celtic name Kobrinus. The Soviet slavist Oleg Trubachov, denying the Celtic hypothesis, connected origin of a toponym with result of addition of a pronominal prefix to, with an Old Slavic basis, Birni. Dirt. Since the first mention, the Kobrinsky earth was in possession of the Volynsk princes. From the first half of the 14th century, the city was a part of Grand Duchy of Lithuania. In 1404-1519 was the center of the specific Kobrinsky Principality belonging to Princes Kobrinsky, dynasty branches Jediminovici. On the place of the initial settlement wooden top and lower locks were built. Exact date of their construction is unknown, according to materials of audit of 1597, at the time they fell into decay. The top lock was enclosed with stone walls with many-tier wooden towers, Nizhny Novgorod, a ditch and shaft. Locks connected the drawbridge. By our time only the remains of a castle ditch remained. On the earth's surface the ceramics fragments dated the 12th, 13th centuries are found. To the west from locks about 1497 the last Kobrinsky prince built the Sposky monastery. One building remained. The city was built up from the east on the west parallel to Mukovtsu. The wide floodplain of the river divided them into two parts. According to data of audit of 1563, on the left coast there were 5 streets, the market square and a town hall didn't remain. On right -2 streets. In 1540 in the territory of Kobrin Bones Channel, the first meliorative object, known in Belarus, is carried up. After suppression of a family of Princes Kobrinsky, the principality is transformed to a starostvo, which in 1532 as the county is attached to the Podlyazhsky voivodeship, since 1566 was in structure of the Berstisky voivodeship. In 1589 the city acquired the Magdeburg right and the coat of arms, in the silver field of a figure of the Maiden Maria and Saint Anna. In honor of the hostess of the city Anna Yegelanka. The Mother of God holds on the baby Jesus' hands. The city strongly was damaged in days of military hard times of the middle of the 17th century. In September 1648 the Cossack groups surrounded Kobrin and broke a banner of the Stuart Vincent Korwin-Gansevsky. Practically all city was burned. In the middle of the 17th century in the city there were about 1,700 inhabitants, 478 houses. By the end of the 18th century the city was restored. In the 1790th years in there were 2160 inhabitants and 360 houses. Since 1795 Kobrin was in structure of the Russian Empire, was the center of the county of the same name as a part of the Grodno province. In the summer of 1812 the Russian troops near Kobrin crushed group of Napoleonic army. In the city 548 houses from 630 burned down. In 1897 10408 inhabitants lived in the city. From them 64.7% Jews, 15.6% Ukrainians, 12.5% Russians, 4.5% Poles, 0.8% Belarusians, were 30 enterprises. In 1915 Kobrin was occupied by the German troops, and in 1919 is busy with the Polish army. In 1921-1939 I was in structure of the two Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealths. I was the center of the county as a part of the Galicia voivodeship. In September 1939 it was occupied by the Soviet troops, then it was included in structure of Bs, since January 1940, the center of the area. In 1939 in the city there were 3,000 inhabitants. From June 23, 1941 to July 20, 1944 it was occupied by the German troops. Kobrin's Jews making 70% of its inhabitants before war, Nazis drove in a ghetto and by October 1942 killed. Rapid development of the city falls on the post-war period, the population quickly grows. In 1959 in the city there were 13.7 thousand inhabitants, in 1970, 24.9 thousand inhabitants. On September 18, 2009 in the city the Republican Festival Fair of Toilers of the village, Dzinki-2009 was held. For preparation for so large-scale action about 400 billion rubles, about $144 million were allocated for reconstruction of city infrastructure and construction of new, doznaczny objects a lump. 2. 190 houses, 7 schools, 126 km of streets were repaired, the 850-meter embankment, the ice arena, aquapark, palace of culture, the rowing channel, an amphitheater in Suvorev's park and other objects is built. About 2,000 builders from the different cities of the country were engaged in reconstruction of the city. During a festival fair the total length of malls was more than 7 km. These services offered over 250 trade enterprises, public caterings and consumer services. Not less than 1,200 people participated in sports and Massachusetts actions. Life of the city and area is lit with local TV channel, Kobrinsky Television. Ktatit. The Kobrinsk Vesik and Kobrin Inform newspapers. In 1817 the population of the city made 1427 people. Of them 899 people Jews. By 1897 the population increased up to people, and to 1907 decreased up to 8754. That is connected first of all with emigration to the USA and other countries. The population practically didn't grow in the first half of the 20th century and made in 1956 about 11,000 people. In the second half of the century the rapid growth of the city continuing till 1990th years began. 26300 people in 1972, 49400 people in 1991. In 2008 the population of the city made 50900 people. According to a Republican population census of 2009 51166 people, from them 23755. 46.43%. Men and 27411. 53.57%. Women lived in Kobrin. By 2011 the population of the city increased to 51687 people, and by the beginning of 2018 exceeded a mark of 53,000 inhabitants. In 2017 in Kobrin was born 634 and 568 people, including 4 children aged till 1 year died. Birth rate coefficient minus 11.9 on 1,000 people. An average value on the area minus 12.1, across the Brest region minus 11.8, across Republic of Belarus minus 10. Mortality rate minus 10.7 on 1,000 people. An average value on the area minus 13.8, across the Brest region minus 12.8, across Republic of Belarus minus 12. In total in Kobrinsky district for January 1, 2018-19 industrial enterprises function, the vast majority is located in the city of Kobrin. The growth rate of the outputs and established prices for January-December 2017 was 112.5%. School No. 1. Before World War II, the State Gymnasium of Maria Rodzovich. The following institutions of vocational training work in the city: Kobrinsky State Polytechnical College, Earlier Construction School, Kobrinsky State Professional Lyceum of Services Industry, Kobrinsky State Art Professional College. In 2013 it is attached to Polytechnical College. In the city 8 high comprehensive schools, a gymnasium, boarding school for hearing impaired children, school orphanage work. Among institutions of specialized training work: the Center of the Correctional Developing Training and Rehabilitation, Center of Children's Creativity, House of Creativity of Young, Ecological and Biological Center of Children and Youth, Station of Young Naturalists, Center of Technical Creativity of Pupils, Sports School of the Olympic Reserve, Sayishur. Also in the city 20 kindergartens work. Sites: Spassky Monastery, the second half of the 18th century lump. 3. Farmstead House, 1790 lump. 4. Street, Nicholas Church, 1750. The Park of Suvorov, 1768. Former synagogue, 18th century. Building of the former prison, 1821. Uspensky Church, 1841-1843. Peter and Paul Church, 1862-1864 lump. 5. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, 1864-1868. Church of Street, Gorge, 1889. Gymnasium of Maria Rodzovich, 1910. Lone Noble Bank, 1912. Nowadays in the building the registry office is located. Monument in honor of the first large victory of the Russian army over Napoleon on July 27, 1812. 1912. A lump. 6. Military and Historical Suvorov Museum. The new building is built in 1990. House of a Prayer of Evangelical Baptist Christians, 1993. Sacred and Ristovensky Church, 2004. Square of Military Glory, 2010. Famous people. On city border in the village Big Lapesa the Policia poet Dmitry Fulkovsky was born. In Kobrin the mathematician Oskar Zariski, one of the most known algebraic geometric of the 20th century, was born. In 1866 Napoleon ordered on suspicion of participation in a revolt of 1863-1864 was put in Kobrinsky prison. Several years in the city there lived the commander Alexander Suvorov owning a manor the Kobrinsky Key. In Kobrin Semyon Siderchuk, the architect of the Russian Emperor Nicholas II was born. In Kobrin Alexei Martynov, the local historian, the first director of the Museum of Suvorov was born. In Kobrin the hero of the Soviet Union Vladimir Kermanovich was born. In the Kobrinsky County Piotr Krachevsky, Rada Belaruskaya's chairman of the People's Republic was born. In October-November 1939 the poet Alexander Tvardovsky and the writer Boris Gorbatov, special correspondents of the newspaper of the Our Homeland, lived in the city. In the city Alexander Griboidov served. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.